Good evening. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon, and thank you so much for your support. Actually, today we'll be talking about universal credit. Universal credit is a system in the United Kingdom given to the system of financing given to the people of the United Kingdom. And this giving of financial support is actually given by the government of the United Kingdom. And thank you so much for your support. And I'm so happy to have taken this opportunity to actually work with you along this complex policy and welfare issue. If you live in the United Kingdom, then rest assured this is best when you know what is going on in this country in terms of welfare and policy. You live in Europe and in the developed world as well as in Africa. Pay attention to what happened in the United Kingdom. United Kingdom introduced modern capitalism to the world in the probable sense of the word, and discuss this logic here and elsewhere, and continue to illustrate the incident of the cost of living crisis, which is a global phenomenon. So doing, showing the incident of benefit welfare system, a form of financing people who need help, who work for a living, who don't work for a living, but the test of whether or not you get universal credit depend on the eligibility criteria, which is actually tested by the means of livelihood you have, such as your saving and your income from work or from other activity, or whether your family or friends have given you money in your account or in your life, whether they give it regularly or whether they give it in a lump sum. You will have savings up to a certain level. This determines whether you get universal credit or not. And I already discussed this elsewhere. I'll continue to discuss it here. And leave a comment below if you are interested, and if you're not interested in this topic. And knowledge is power. We live in the knowledge economy. If there is a problem, we need to understand what the problem is. The cost of living crisis is caused by income disruption, or the problem of income as a whole. I've argued elsewhere, and I repeat it here, that the level of income is a factor, the primary factors. Therefore, universal credit is a financial method of helping those who need help. It have as its primary objective to get the British people out of poverty. If this modeling is applied in Europe and across the globe, then in principle, where government actually set up welfare system to get its people out of poverty in a modern world where there is technology, where there is abundance of wealth, and it is only correct and also the right thing to do to get the global citizens out of poverty, beginning in one country or another. Today I'm talking about the United Kingdom, and therefore talking about the United Kingdom as an example. Paying attention to this conversation is extremely important by every viewer. Thank you so much for your support so far. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed before. Continue watching and sharing with family and friends. Leaving notification bell, leave a comment below, and also click like I said here, and I will as well. I'm also repeating it here, that subscription is free. I'm saying this because I have spoken to other people, and they have actually thought subscribing is to be paid for, and I have already said it is not supposed to be paid for, and it is free. It takes seconds. It doesn't take much time. Whether whichever part of the world you are, as long as you have the right equipment, the connectivity, if you have all the mobile phone or whatever gadget you're using for your communication with the internet, I already said it. Leave a comment below if you are struggling with the idea of subscribing and watching. Of course, it's very essential. Watching the videos are really important. And share them with family and friends, and also leave a comment, because I need to know that what I'm talking about is important. Continue watching. Thank you so much. So let us talk now directly on universal credit in the United Kingdom, which is the money people who need it are given by the United Kingdom government. And this money, if you are somebody who feel you might be eligible, eligibility means you are actually you meet all the criteria to get this benefit in terms of assessment, in terms of looking at your status, your circumstances, and also looking at all the information you have got. And while that is actually checked by the government, by government offices, the Department of Work and Pension. If you watch this video, watch the rest of the video, connect with this. It's a continuation. And when that is happened, you are in the situation of actually claiming the benefit. You need benefit, you need to claim it. If you think you need help, you have to claim it, otherwise you won't get it. And it's a process of claiming it based on the law and the policy of this country, of the United Kingdom. And that's what I've been talking about. If you want to get help, the best thing is actually to go to the government website, gov.uk, and also try and get your professional support from different organizations, charitable organizations. If you go on the government website, you are more likely than not to get a list or links to all the organizations, mainly voluntary organizations you need. And watch the rest of the video, you will find actually indicated there the kind of organization you are more likely to get support from. So what I'm saying now is that you set up the process of applying, which I already discussed, already repeating. You set up an account, an online account, and mostly the application is online, and you are thereby putting information, all the information to say who you are and what you do or what you don't do, where you live, all the normal identifying information, also information on your income, and also on any investment and savings. These are actually very important, especially in relation to the standard allowance, because there are different elements to universal credit, including standard allowance and all the other allowances. If you live in a property, you might also need to claim the housing element, which is replacing housing benefits, which housing benefits are also there to pay for rent. In the United Kingdom, the cost of rent is the highest, and if not for any reason to claim universal credit, then do so. If you're paying rent in this country and you don't have money, or you don't have enough, when you don't have money, it means you have £6,000 in your savings and you have no extra income coming, then you are actually more likely to be the most likely going to be eligible. That actually the way to pass eligibility criteria, including other standard checklists like your immigration status and your age. All these are factors discussed in the other video. I'm repeating this discussion here, and I'm so grateful that you joined, and we are actually few, but the more the merrier, and I'm looking forward to more people actually joining us and really have a conversation, because information is power, and also be responsible as an individual is actually good training, because as I said in the previous video, the system is changing. The government used to run this country for the people of the country, but now things are increasingly changing, where government is actually changing its attitude and practices to actually hand over government per se to back to the British people. And this approach is actually replicated across the globe. It's called globalization. So more and more across the globe, we are seeing the state now freeing us from getting whipped, as it were, and giving us back our countries. But we need to really engage with the government, and to do so, we need to be experts on governance, on its policy, wherever you are in Africa or the rest of the world. This is the time now, whether you are a young person, probably even when you're a child, because there are so many children now taken into care in the United Kingdom and elsewhere, where their parents are actually either failing or actually a lot of problems. The children can no longer get on with their parents, and they are actually being removed either forcefully by the government from their parents, or they are actually running away from home. So if you are a child, be careful, because you are in school, you are being told by your teacher, and in school you are also being excluded sometimes. There's something called PRU in the United Kingdom, pupil referral unit, which is actually a process of excluding children from school, which is a good thing and a bad thing, depending what you think. Leave a comment below if you think excluding children in the United Kingdom or in your country is a good thing, because what happened in the United Kingdom frequently happen in another country because of globalization. I have been saying this. I should be careful to repeat this point, because once we are aware, and we are actually strengthened. This is actually a strategy to survive. If you know any value in surviving in a modern world, in a country like Britain or America or any other country of the world where the world is actually turning into a jungle, God for us all, every man for himself. So information such as this are critical. It's a pointer to your survivability line of survival. Knowing what the government is doing and preparing ahead of time, when you face homelessness, when you cannot access healthcare, dentistry, when you cannot access education because your parents have no money. That is what it means for the government to close down, which it is doing. It has also mentioned this in the United Kingdom. Mentioning things like that in the United Kingdom also means, it is consistent with Europe and the rest of the world, the rest of the countries. Actually, government is very adamant that it is giving back our country. It is giving back our country, which is actually what makes us happy. The concept of freedom. The very tenets of society, of democracy, is actually for us to be free from the government. But let us be sure that freedom necessarily means responsibility. You cannot in life have your cake and eat it, and the moment you demand your freedom from the state or the government actually announcing your liberty, as it were, announcing your liberty by shutting down the public sector and also giving back your country in the process, because the shutting down is actually means privatization, which privatization is actually selling of the country to people who have money to buy. If you have your money to buy the country, then you be my guest. Buy whatever you have to buy, because you buy land, you buy housing, you buy healthcare, you buy transport, you buy everything you need because you have the money. And we now seem to be in a situation where the rich have gotten richer and the poor have gotten poorer. The same old story and same old situation, and where social injustice, the failure of the processes, and failing to understand that the world is not really a place of equity, or a place where you can apply smoothly. You can apply equal treatment, equal access. This is always an Achilles heel of the modern society, especially in democratized estates. We are being saying this over and again, and I'm so happy I did. You're welcome to join me in the conversation and give your opinion. And sometimes silence. If you watch my video, silence and not saying anything, or even not reacting, is sometimes it's the best policy. As long as you are actually curious enough to find out what this video is about, whether it's worth your watching, and curiosity may kill a cat. But you are not a cat, you're a human being, so you're not going to die necessarily by being curious. But be careful, of course, when people talk about certain things. Find time. I talk about responsibility, I talk about rights, I talk about freedom, I talk about survival. I mean, if you're a human being, you value your life. If you honestly, truly value your life, then it is of necessity for you actually valuing your life to take responsibility for your life and also claim your rights from wherever rights may exist or may not exist. It is your responsibility, be somebody who is a dominance, your preponderance over other adversities, over situation, over natural disasters, our survivability. You see, we in the world, survival is the name of the game. And this is what this conversation is about, because I labor to actually put logic and context into what I'm talking about, and also putting value, actually adding value to the very project of actually talking about the cost of living crisis as a symptom of society, as an indicator of things we need to pay attention to. Income is so important, because in the modern world we need money. If you're a child, you need your sweets, you need your chocolate, you need your trainers, sneakers, whatever you are looking for. You want your holiday, you need the money. And that's why money is so important. I mean, if you only learn about one thing in life, then learn about money. And when I talk about universal credit, I'm talking about money here in the UK. The problem associated with it, the opportunities, the threats also there. I've been really laboring to say this, and I'm so happy you came, and I'm also happy if you didn't come, because it's a matter of time we are going to meet sooner or later, and we are going to have a good conversation. And let us go back to universal credit specifics. And we live in a world where we need to survive. So if you have money, that is fine, because therefore, if you have more than £6,000 as a saving, you are still going to get universal credit if you want to, because if you have 16,000 in savings, you can still get universal credit, but the chances are that you are not going to get universal credit. If you have 15,000, imagine you have £15,000 in your bank account, you can still get universal credit. You can get some money, universal credit, to pay your rent, to help you with council tax, which is actually very important. They are priority bills, and if you're in debt, they are priority debts. In terms of council tax, I have actually mentioned that council tax is a very curious factor of society in terms of cost of living. It is very curious in the sense of council tax being obligatory. It is mandatory, in the manner where failing to pay council tax without any explanation to the government may lead to imprisonment. Imagine you being taken into prison because you are poor, and that is the essence of council tax. And if you are actually in the United Kingdom or anywhere in the world, in a modern democratic society where you have members of parliament, take this information to them, or get this information from somewhere, and actually talk to your member of parliament, talk to your leader, local leaders, government leaders, and ask them why in the world are they asking you to pay for council tax if you don't work, and if you are sick, you're still required to pay council tax. Why? When there is a lot of wealth in the United Kingdom, while there are multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires, we should at least every month take at least 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or even 50% of their wealth, giving it to the government to support housing in the United Kingdom, to support healthcare, to support community living, education for people who actually are so poor, shamedly so poor, in a country where there is so much wealth. Potentially the British people should be swimming in wealth, and that is what technology and the system of the economy has produced. not a lot of wealth actually happening in the developed world. And even in Africa now, there is so much wealth, and it defies logic in a world where we actually rule the waves. We are actually, we swim in money, and we really swim on wealth. I mean, if you're a member of the family, of the royal family, you are so rich that you don't even know. And money is literally rotting because of wealth. I mean, wealth has become an anathema society. I mean, so much wealth. People are supposed to be swimming not in water but in wealth, and we still tax our people, we value added tax on food, on fuel. And that's why actually the cost of living has become such a menace. Because you see, the social injustice is appalling. The government has failed miserably. British government has failed miserably to look after British people by actually looking after the country. Because you see, in as much as the government wants to set its people free, you don't just walk away from people who need help overnight. You actually, the government has been running the United Kingdom for decades. The ruling class have actually swam in wealth for decades. And if you suddenly wake up from your deep sleep, from your obsession with rule, and on a sunny day, on a sunny, beautiful morning, you decided to set your people free, then you have to let them go with some wealth. You don't send them empty-handed. And that is what the British government is trying to do at the same time as advocating for freedom, setting the country free, giving our country back in the United Kingdom, America, Europe, Africa, wherever the government is advocating something similar. You go to Africa, there is a phenomenon of privatization where parents are now required to take control of educating their children, healthcare, housing in Africa. If you go to Africa, you'll find out this is what is happening because of privatization. It used not to be like that. The government used to look after its citizens, not any longer. Because see, privatization and capitalism has come of age, and globalization has spread like cancer across the globe, spreading this economic system known as capitalism across the globe, like a piece of cancer. But it is for us to embrace capitalism and make it our own. And actually, you have to clean the cancer out of capitalism and provide capitalism in a more sensible way, where the government gives us back our wealth, which it took in order to rule the country on our behalf. Now that they have actually declared freedom, you have to give back our country, give back our land, give back our wealth, so that we can build our own houses, we can build our own hospitals, we can create our own technology, we build our own trucks, our own pickups, our own tractors, we produce our own seed and produce our own organic food, we build our own houses, our bridges, our defenses, our security. You name it, we protect our own environment because the government is shutting down. You decide to shut down. Yes, we want to be free. We don't want to be under the grip of the rule of law produced by the government, which actually oppress us. Yes, we want the freedom, but how can we be free if our country is looted, if our country is actually taken away by the few, and the many are now languishing in poverty and having to rely on something like universal credit? My criticism of universal credit is that it is abusive, it should stop, and the benefit system should ultimately stop. But for now, if you need help, please go and get some help from the government. And that is really a sensible thing to do, because you are between the rock and the hard places. If you are a child, if you are a young person, if you are an adult, if you are an elderly person, look after your work. If you work for a living, protect your employment. Employment is a form of evil. Self-employment is the right thing to do, because we are workers. We work for ourselves. We build our own wealth. It's not necessary. I mean, if you think that you have to work for somebody as a slave and you don't even get paid, you get taxed by a government which takes no responsibility for your life. and who actually preside over a benefit system for universal credit. Universal credit and any form of benefit is an insult to our pride as a nation in the world. You have to really grow your own food. We are born to work. We are creators of wealth. Capitalism has proved us right that we are, as a species, you as the human species, we are born to create jobs. We are not created to be beggars, to go to the government and kneel before the kings and the queens and all the government officials are begging for benefit. We have our dignity. We have respect. We have respect for humanity. We value our lives. We don't believe in benefit. We don't believe in in employment. We believe in employment. Ownership of our estate, ownership of our country, and that is the whole point about our existence. And this is the voice. Let us listen to this voice, and let us also come together as a people who are victimized, who are actually now who being made to work for a living instead of working for themselves. They're being made to work for other people, for their masters. They're working as slaves, being taxed, including poll tax, council tax. These names are actually similar to, in substance, they are similar to what is happening around the world. In other countries, it used to be poll tax. In the United Kingdom, it used to be poll tax. They just changed the names. They just wrap the name under the cover. But inside, they are dirty. They are stinking. They are stinkingly evil. The council tax is a very evil form of taxation. And the government should be aware of that and begin the process of actually freeing the British people of taxation. Because if there is no public service, there should be no taxation. Whether there is public service or not, public service is a temporary measure. We want to be free. The people of the world want to be free out of benefit, being free of employment, being free from employment, being actually at liberty, working for our projects, and as independent people growing our own food, building our own houses, and creating our own government, and building our own technologies, engineering our science and technology. And we need to do that ourselves. We have to really pay attention to our legal system. We need the legal system. I have already mentioned it before that the law is actually nothing to do with freedom, because it is actually oppressive. That is the function of the law. The function of the law is facilitate the rule of a country. The law is actually here to oppress people of the world. Freedom is actually believe in our humanity, believe in our culture, believe in our lives, in the life of our family and friends. Is what I call cultural economy. Cultural economy is extremely vital, because it's the core, is the essence of our survivability, is the tenets which actually provide for our freedom. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm so happy going back specifically on universal credit. I have already said you claim this thing online, and you have to provide all the evidence. You are actually asked to take to the Department of Work and Pension. If you don't take evidence, you are not going to get universal credit, and you actually won't get your first universal credit payment until you have brought all the documents with you. So these are some of the information you need to actually provide. So when the government, Department of Work and Pension, during the process of claiming universal credit, if they book an appointment, your first appointment, you need to take all this information and determine what you need to take with you at the first appointment, and take the right evidence there. And when you are meeting your work coach is actually the person who supports you on your work. because the central idea surrounding benefit, either to and also currently, is that you should be looking for work. It's supposed to support you back to work if you work. That's the government policy. I may disagree with it because the purpose of the benefit is not to take you to support you back to work, because that is nonsense. You go to work with or without benefit. If you have work, you are still working. There is a presumption sometimes by some wrong thinking politicians and also ideologues and some think tanks who are actually misleading the country and also misleading the government that the British people are lazy. They are not. And even foreigners who come here to work, they are actually very hardworking. And it is actually very cruel and violent to start abusing, even insulting British people to be lazy. They are not lazy. They have worked so hard. Working people have built this country, and it's only fair that a government should respect the British people. And the idea that you are trying to help somebody back to work, British people are not children. They don't work because capitalism has failed to provide full-time work. The government needs to really understand its paperwork properly. They need to do their own research. Capitalism has failed to provide work. The question is this work. I've already said we should not live in a country where employment is made available. And we should live in a world where self-employment is made available. If the government is keen on supporting British people, they don't support the British people by giving them benefits to encourage them back to work. That is nonsense. If you want the British people to work, give them money to help them to create their own jobs so that they are their own boss. That is the best way to help the British people from where we are. If you need the British people to work, increase the level of the minimum wage to maybe 30 pounds an hour, and actually improve condition of work. And employers should not stand into some cruel abusers of the British people. And people should be working like free people who live in a free world. You don't talk about free world, you don't talk about democracy. You don't really, if you're an American, you should be ashamed if people are actually still being abused by employers because they are poor, because they are probably working for a living, they are middle class. I mean, the idea of freedom is not for the few. It has to be for everyone. I mean, if you are your own boss, then you are actually enjoying the fruit of freedom, or the fruit of enlightenment, the freedom or the fruit of democracy. And this is what this is what benefit system is all about. It's about oppression. It's about abuse by the state, whether they know it or not. Should be shut down. The benefit system should shut down immediately. Employment should shut down. Self-employment should be encouraged by the government before the government shuts down. So let's going back to this information. There's somebody called the work coach. Work coach is the coach which helps a claimant into work, which is a complete rubbish. Because you see, we don't need help to get back. We know how to look for work. If we need work, and our looking for work is actually out of necessity. It is not ideal. It is actually evil enough for us to be working for other people. We should be working for ourselves. And that has nothing to do with benefit. Is a sign of failure, which capitalism has failed. Employment is a form of failure. Self-employment is actually what we need to actually authenticate our capitalism. And if it's good enough for other people to it's good enough for other people to be self-employed, and it's also good enough for the rest of the British people, the rest of the population of the world is supposed to be self-employed, and that is what freedom is about. So this argument is actually a freedom, because if you are free, then you are a survivor. And this is a survival strategy. If you think it's a joke, it is fine. If you think it is serious, it's fine. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for watching this far, and share with family and friends. And I'm so happy that you came. I'm also so happy that you did not come, but we will meet again. The next time when you come, we will have a conversation. And if you are actually so lucky to meet me today or previously, watch this video if you can. If not, share with family and friends, or both. watching and also sharing with family and friends and the people you know and the people you don't know, because this is our world. We are the same. We are the people of the world. We are here to celebrate life, and I'm so excited. And we are talking about the cost of living. We are talking about the universal credit, which is a form of freedom or lack thereof. Because if we suffer in certain ways in relation to wealth or income, then we are actually diminished in terms of our freedom. Our freedom is consistent with our access to the wealth of the world, and of freedom of the world, and as individual civil liberty. And this is what I've been talking about. I'm so happy that you came, and we're looking at this system, and we're looking at the function of work coach. Work coach is somebody who supports you in the work. That is what the policy of the DWP is on the claiming benefit. And then you look at this information carefully and check to be sure they are accurate. And also do your best to collect all the evidence you need in order to actually claim your benefit. And if you don't get it, you don't get the right information, then let your work coach know. But you need to know that it is so difficult to get benefit. So you have to really get benefit if you need benefit, because if you don't get benefit, you might die. In the same way as you might die if you don't get healthcare support, if you don't get housing, you are going to die. It is so difficult to get benefit. It is so hard to get everything now because of what the government has done to destroy public sector. And destroying public sector is bad now, but also having public sector is also bad now, because we don't need no public sector. We don't need no government. What we need is freedom. And that is what the government said. What the government actually said to us, that we are actually free. And having earned our freedom, we walk with our heads held high as the British people. And so we don't need the universal credit, and but we are in need because the government has put us there. The government who promised to prosperity us actually made us. He created a situation where we are actually bound to work for a living, which is wrong, and also bound to claim benefits, which is also wrong. It is wrong as it is because we need to survive. So we work for a living. So we actually work as employees, which means other people are actually employing us instead of working for us. Don't get me wrong at all. Work is the right thing to do, because if you don't work, you don't succeed. But how you work is more important. You should work for yourself. You should be your boss. Employment should shut down and give us our freedom so that we are our own bosses. The government should give us back our money. Where is the British money? Where is the Bank of England? Where are all the other banks? They should give money to the government so the government can give us money, our land, to do our own things. That is what I'm talking about. Talking about the universal credit, to try and illustrate my thinking. And there are rules I'm taking you through. I am actually mixing these things up because I've already talked about universal credit before. If you watch the other video, and if you are watching now, then try to follow your best mind train of thinking. What I'm going to think. I'm trying to think about. And so, if you need to answer some more questions at the job center, you have to prepare and take as much information as you can. And there are always deadlines to do with claiming benefit. These deadlines are actually all over the welfare policy, and you have 1 month deadline to actually take all your documents. If you don't take extra documents, if you don't take a document, actually, your benefit might be stopped. So you can also post the extra documents to the job center if you can't take them on the day. You can ask for the address at the interview. These are some of the information, because the reason I've actually talked about this, so that people actually get an idea. Because some people actually do not know benefit at all. They have never heard about it in the United Kingdom or anywhere in the world. But because things are changing very quickly, sooner or later you will be having to claim benefit because technology is taking away work. Anyway, the employment which we don't like, but which we need, is being taken away by the machine anyway. So we will not have no income at all. Our conditions will worsen, especially when the government is shut down. When rich people are the ones running the country because of they are the ones with the wealth of the world with technology. That when that happens in the future, may not happen today or tomorrow, but this is where the direction of travel is. And the stresses of change, these changes are now being experienced, such as the cost of living crisis. These are actually signs of the time that things are now changing from one position to the next. Technology is coming to take away the work. If you go to the supermarket, if you go into buses or trains, you're not using something called Oyster card. Oyster card can be now integrated into your mobile phone, which is nice. You can also be, you have a credit card, Oyster card, or whatever. Because we are actually losing cash anyway. Yes, as a society, we are producing a cashless society, which means we should be prepared for change. And the pace of change is very fast. So we are to take responsibility for our lives. It is a thing of the past now to rely on your parents, to rely on your government, to rely on your country. You have learned to rely on yourself, first of all. Even if you are a small child, you should begin to learn very quickly. Like, we are turning into a jungle. The human society is turning into a jungle. Children are actually being left in the house to cook, even if they are only 10, even if they are only 6, even if they are younger probably than that. In Africa, in Europe, around the world. I mean, things are changing very quickly. You're becoming less human. And that's why I'm also, as much as I want to talk about universal credit specifically, I'm constantly drawn to looking at the condition of our humanity. Because if we can no longer be human, to take care of our children, to take care of one another, to be family again, then a lot of things we are trying to do is going to be futile. Because in the end, the basis of our survivability is being human. Going back to universal credit, there's always looking at whether you need extra documents. You can tell your work coach what the situation is like. You might be able to get extra questions instead. If you don't have any document, you can be asked more questions to try and verify. You are actually interrogated so that you know that, because all this exercise to establish that you are not lying, because the government saying you are liars, which maybe you are liars or not. Leave a comment below if you are a liar. If you are not a liar, then leave a comment below also. If you are a cheat, leave a comment below, because the government saying you are a cheat by actually trying to cheat on benefit. You are a thief. If you're a thief, leave a comment below. If you're not, then leave a comment below. That is what the government thinks. That's why it's treating you as a criminal suspect. You are interrogated. You are made to provide evidence to prove that what they're saying is actually true. It's like you don't really tell the truth. That is the attitude of the government, treating the British people as if they are potential criminals. I mean, it is a form of abuse, knowingly or unknowingly. Because you see, being poor is not a badge of being a thief. I mean, being rich is not a badge of being honest. Some rich people are actually crooks and thieves. Some of them are actually honest. Some poor people are actually crooks and thieves. But prejudice is not, should have no place in society. And that is the failure of the benefit system, failure of the employment system, failure of the state, of the social system. We should change, because this is our world, this is our country, this is our continent, this is our world, whether you are black or white, male or female, whatever kind of person, young or old. This is our world. We have rights, but we also have responsibility. That's why I'm trying to talk about. And this is why I'm talking. That's what I'm trying to talk about. And I expect everyone to listen. whether you are here, whether you are elsewhere, I wish you all the good luck. Listen if you must, don't listen if you must not. Leave a comment below and let me know what you're thinking about this exercise. I think it is the right thing to do. I think it is what everybody should be doing. Talking about what matters as a priority. I'm not saying you should be talking about serious topics all the time. You should have fun, you should play, you should pray, you should go to church, you should go to school, you should go to the park, you should go to the pub and drink yourself to drunkenness if you want. If you're a free country, do what you want to do. And go to the supermarket, do window shopping, shop. Don't shop late because we don't like thieves around here. I'm not going to ask you to be a thief. You're not going to cheat on benefits either. If you go to claim universal credit, you're going to go economically. But dignity is really important. A lot of people don't claim benefit because it is an insult to the country, to the British people, asking people to go and claim benefit. Including even pension. If you don't claim pension in the United Kingdom, you are not going to get pension. You have worked all your life and the government say, okay, you are going to give you pension. And you still have to claim pension. You are humiliated with evidence. You are a pensioner and you are a child. You are a woman. You are a man. You work so hard for this country. You are supposed to own this country. This is your country. This is not a country of benefit where you're interrogated, where the government is suspecting you of being a benefit cheat. You are a thief. You are treated like a thief or a criminal suspect by the Department of Work and Pension. That is an attitude you find in the hospital, in all the public sector. You are treated with suspicion. And this is actually a form of government abuse. Whether they know it or not, that is the problem. It is actually a failure of culture. The government should go to school and learn how to respect the British people. And going back to universal credit, and like I said, if you want this benefit, if you don't take these things, you're not going to get it. And I say to people, if you don't learn to get benefit in the next 5 to 10 years, you might literally die because it is the only thing left now. It's the vestiges of what is left. Because the rest of the things are being given, the country has been given away to the super rich, the few, the rich are getting richer, which are actually the minority of the population, the majority are actually being left out, hung out to dry. Literally, if you are suffering, you may think you are suffering alone because we are societies of individuals. What happens to your neighbor? We are actually divided. And the government has divided to rule over people. You need to divide them so that they are weak, they are confused, and then they're calling themselves neighbors. What kind of neighbor? They're calling their neighbors strangers. Why are you calling other human strangers? And people are so dangerous these days. You don't even want to talk to them on the street. They are so corrupt. We are so corrupt that we fear one another. Where did the violence come from? Why should we be so violent? Because culturally we are failed. We need to go back to school. All of us. Learn your culture. Respect yourself. Respect your neighbor. Don't call your neighbor stranger unless they are. If they are strangers, it means they are dangerous people. How can you leave your enemy next door? This is the reality in the United Kingdom. This is the reality across the globe, not just in the UK. Everywhere you go, there is actually human beings are becoming the worst, the most lethal enemy, the most dangerous species on earth because of cultural failure. If we don't address violence, we're going to face extinction. Let us go back to talk about universal credit. Universal credit is just a sign of the times. That's why I'm talking about it. I could have chosen a topic other than universal credit. I would have talked about housing benefit, but universal credit is the main area of benefit, of money. I could have chosen to talk about housing, public housing, private housing, or healthcare. As long as it relates to humanity, there is going to be a similar situation because we need to be free. We need to be respectful. We need to be free of fear of crime, fear of other humans. You see, if you're walking on the street, if you are at sea, If you're actually in the space, your number one enemy is actually a human being. What has happened to us? Why have we become so dangerous? Even the dogs can be trusted more than humans. We lock ourselves indoors like slaves. There is no trust because we have become so violent. We have fought wars. Look at television. Listen to the radio. Go online. See violence of all sorts. It's like we as a species spend more time now manufacturing violence. Even children's programs, even our movies, the things we have chosen to do, we are destroying ourselves. We are committing suicide, mass suicide, whether in Europe, in America, in all the continent of the world. We, the people, must change. Let us also change our government. Government is a symbol of evil, which our society is. Because you see, we can get rid of the government tomorrow, but they will still be evil. Because the evil is from the root. The fish is said to rot from the head, but also from other creatures also rot from the root. Other things rot from the root. We, the people, have to learn our culture. We have to respect ourselves. We have to value one another. We have to really learn peace. That is all I'm talking about. If I talk about universal credit, I'm talking about violence. Universal credit, which is a type of benefit. Welfare state is a form of violence. Employment is a form of violence. Self-employment is a sign of peace. I'll say this because if you are self-employed, you work for yourself. You start a process of sowing a seed of peace. Employment, somebody employing you, 0-hour contract. Slave labor, slave laboring, including enslaving children. You don't want to pay people who work for you. I mean, how evil is that? And I'm not accusing any one person. It is us. We should all take humanitarian responsibility today. We claim our rights. We also have taken responsibility. And this is why I am talking. It is the truth. We are survivors. We should act like one. We can no longer sit and business as normal. I have seen this. We have seen this. It's getting worse. The cost of living is evidence of violence. The cost of living crisis is evidence of more violence. Taxation. Why should somebody pay council tax? If you don't pay council tax in the United Kingdom, if you don't tell the government why you're not paying council tax, they're going to go to prison. You're going to be evicted from your home. If you don't pay your rent, if you don't pay your mortgage is a form of credit because people don't have money. Housing is so expensive that people cannot afford it in the United Kingdom or anywhere in the world. Go to Africa, people are almost sleeping under trees because they can't afford housing. With all the technology, with all the wealth, the majority of the population of the world are homeless. More and more people are going onto the street. They are dying there. And we think that is the right thing. What has happened to us as a species? Let us look at universal credit. How is it paid? I'm just trying to explain the policies, the processes, how it is paid, the universal credit payment. If you give everything, then you will pay. You've submitted every information, they will start paying you. Otherwise, they won't even pay your universal credit. Why should they have that requirement? They should not have that requirement at all because this is help. You don't help people like that. You don't treat people like slaves. And that's what I'm saying. You don't get paid unless you give evidence that what you said. Why are you in court? Why are you interrogated? This is help. And if you look at this information, I'm not lying to you. Go online. Whether you are lazy or hardworking, it doesn't matter. This is a matter of life and death because it affects employment. You go and look at employment policy. Go and look at housing policy, health policy, educational policy. transport, public transport policy, law and order, the police, the prison, and emergency services like fire, and private security system. All this information are out there. If you have the power, be an expert on all of them: immigration policy, foreign policy, defense policy, you see, welfare policy, broadly, health and social care. All these things, information is on the government website. Go and look at it. It's so complex. And these are the things we rely on as a society, as a member of society: national security, cyber security. All these things are there. So if you look at universal credit, the way I'm trying to talk about universal credit, so that you look beyond, universal credit is actually an illustrative instrument for me to discuss the wider policy of society. So I'm going through the information about universal credit, and so you can claim universal credit loan. You can claim with somebody else. You can claim as a person, a single person, or with a partner, and they will have their own interview. They will also need to take documents proving their details, even if they have already proved some things like addresses. And if you need help preparing for the interview, you can talk to an advisor. And also this actually applies to every other element of welfare. So things you might be able to take to the Department of Work and Pension is actually you can take ID, photo ID. These are actually to identify yourself. You need to take at least one photo ID. The job center. Job center is where you look for work, but also where you claim your benefits, because benefits now related to work, to employment. You're going to look for employment, and that's also where you get benefits. In terms of getting benefits, after that you are actually will be working, looking for work. If you are not looking for work, you're not going to get universal credit. So your photo ID include your passport, driving license, national identity card if you are an EU citizen. So if you don't have any photo ID, the job center might ask you some extra questions instead. So, like I said, you don't need to prepare for this. Your interview will take longer than normal, so it's better to take ID if you have it in theory, but in practice, you can tolerate it for a while, but ultimately you have to really provide ID. Even your benefit will be stopped, and even you may be asked to pay back what you have already paid, full benefit of a payment. I've discussed this everywhere. So if you need to buy a new ID, you can ask your work coach about using money from the Flexible Support Fund. Talk about Flexible Support Fund, that's probably what I've been talking about yesterday. And this is actually the fund which is discretionary. If they don't, in practice, they don't give it. If you actually want to get it, more likely than not, the guidelines from DWP, which may be off the record, actually, their attitude, because this is discretionary, it's not really mandatory. It is not your right. So it depends who you get there. Most of them are actually guided that to get a flexible support fund, you need to get things like computer. You want things like computer, mobile phone. You have to be looking for work in the first place. You might need it if you need it for government-sponsored program like apprenticeship, or maybe the work program, which is mandatory program or non-mandatory program. If it accessorize a program, then they will probably give you a flexible support fund. And things like if you are actually on the apprenticeship, or if you have a job interview, or if you are searching work, this is the kind of restriction which they don't probably put here, because that's why they use different words, like you might get it, check if you can get it, blah blah blah. So in practice, the government attitude is not to give this help. because they are closing it down. The plan is to close it down, but probably they are not talking about it directly. But if you read between the line, or even on the line itself, if you are actually diligent, you know that the public sector is closing down. I've been making this claim. And if you think I'm right, leave it on the law. If you think I'm wrong, leave it on the law. But you do well to do your own research. This is not an authority on any government policy. You are free to look for information as you need. So this is current thing which actually information which is actually available, and you can look at it out of curiosity, and you can take your housing detail also. If you rent privately, you need to prove how much rent you pay and what your landlord's interest is. Take your rental agreement or recent rent statement. These are some of the information which I've been talking about. Your rental agreement might be called the tenancy agreement, license agreement, or written statement of your occupational contract. So this is some of the information about your housing. If you don't have any of these, ask your landlord for a copy of the agreement or of a letter with details of the agreement. Some of the information you may care to look at. And if you rent for your local council or housing association, you don't need to take evidence of your housing cost or your interview. You will need, you will have entered detail of your housing costs in your online application. The Department of Work and Pension will get in touch with you, landlord, check those details are correct. If you have your own home, you need to provide evidence of your mortgage or loan. This could be a mortgage agreement or a bank statement showing credit of the mortgage. Mortgage is a type of credit. Loan is also a type of credit, which means what you borrow and you have to pay it back. And you need to take your bank details also. Like I said, you need to give these details, and or from your bank or building society or credit union account. This is an example of banking facilities. This could be your bank card or the bank statement. If you don't have any bank statements, you can ask your bank for one. You might have to pay a small fee. This is a family situation. If you have to pay a small fee or a big one, you are actually penniless. Most people who go to claim benefit are actually penniless. They are extremely poor because they would have lost their work. They would have lost their jobs anyway. They're not working, they are sick, they can't work, or they lost their job, or maybe they work and they don't earn enough because they are on 0-hour contract. Any of those situations can lead to you having no money, but the worst of all them all is actually credit. People borrow a lot of money to complement the income. Even if you work for a living, you are still poor. That's why I say employment is an evil thing. Borrowing is evidence. If you borrow money, you get a loan or any other form of credit, it's evidence. Especially mortgage, it's evidence of employment not really working in the United Kingdom. Because you see, why should the cost of housing not be affordable? That is obvious. Because if you are a common government, you should really spell it out that the British people cannot afford housing. Where are they going to live? Are they going to be homeless on the street? Is that what this country is about, or any country of the world? No. The people should not live. People should have homes. They should have access to things, to food, energy. If you can't afford this, and you think you are British, you think you are American, you think you are African, you think you are actually a member of the global community, you live in the world. Where is the wealth? What is technology doing? All the wealth we have accumulated for decades, what are we using it for? Where is it? Why are people poor? People shouldn't be poor. People should not be on benefit. There should be a special arrangement to get British people out of poverty, to get people of the world out of poverty without having to get involved in this complication. So if you have used a friend or family member bank account for your first payment, it's best to ask your workforce what to do at your appointment. This is some of the information there is really interesting. Go online, go on the government website and read about them. If you want to read them, go online just on the internet. You click on your mobile phone. If you have in internet banking, you can print a statement from your online account. Take information about your income and savings. So I talk about saving because it means testing. University credit is a means testing. You need details how much you earn from the work. So this is because the benefit is means testing. If you earn about 800 pounds per month, you probably not get university credit. Probably you get other elements, and most likely you're not going to get it anyway. You will need details of how much you earn for work. You could take recent pay slips or account if you're self-employed. If you're self-employed, you need to bank your account. Your account if you're actually self-employed, which is potentially is a great thing. But it's very costly to actually manage your account because you have to pay. You're self-employed. So if you have left work, take your P45. You should also take evidence of any income that's owed to you, such as pay from working overtime. Any detail of work you're going to start, any income that's not from work, like from pension insurance plan, any other benefits you're getting, such as benefits letter or bank statement, any savings you have got, a bank statement to show the details. Any other capital you have, like share or property, and if you're self-employed, if you are employed, you need to provide this evidence. And that's what I've been talking about. And I'm just going to kind of like point you to the government website in the United Kingdom, or all actually on your phone. All this information are actually on the internet. So the details we need to work out if being self-employed is your main job. You need to show how much regular work you get from self-employment, how much profit you make, that your work is organized. So you can provide things like invoices and receipts, accounts. You develop coronavirus for self-employed people. You don't currently have to prove you are in gainful employment, self-employment, but you might have to prove this from the 1st of August 2021. This is actually information which is actually now, you might have to prove this from the 1st of August 2021. Find out more about getting university credit if you're self-employed. To prove being self-employed is your main job. Take documents for your interviews, such as your business plan. You can find out how to write a business plan on gov.uk. So you get information like invoices, receipts, accounts, proof that you are registered and self-employed with HMRC. This is the tax office. You can contact the tax office to check if you are registered as self-employed. Their numbers are always on the government website. So calls to this number will cost up to 9 pence a minute from landline, and also 3p to 55 pence a minute from a mobile phone. So your phone supplier can tell you how much you pay. So all this tediousness from somebody who is really suffering is a sign that the government is really not really keen to help the people. Benefit is a form of abuse, like I said. So you can take as many documents as you can that the interviewing, that the person interviewing you can see that you are self-employed. If you don't, you might have to look for other work while you get university credit. So condition of getting university credit, you just have to be working or looking for work. If you have children, we are going to continue next time we meet. Thank you for your support. Thank you for actually watching this far, and appreciate your contribution. And share with family, friends, subscribe to this channel and share with people, and leave a comment below and subscribe, share, and let me know what you're thinking. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good evening. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon, and thank you so much for your support. Actually, today we'll be talking about universal credit. Universal credit is a system in the United Kingdom given to the system of financing given to the people of the United Kingdom. And this giving of financial support is actually given by the government of the United Kingdom. And thank you so much for your support. And I'm so happy to have taken this opportunity to actually work with you along this complex policy and welfare issue. If you live in the United Kingdom, then rest assured this is best when you know what is going on in this country in terms of welfare and policy. You live in Europe and in the developed world as well as in Africa. Pay attention to what happened in the United Kingdom. United Kingdom introduced modern capitalism to the world in the probable sense of the word, and discuss this logic here and elsewhere, and continue to illustrate the incident of the cost of living crisis, which is a global phenomenon. So doing, showing the incident of benefit welfare system, a form of financing people who need help, who work for living, who don't work for living, but the test of whether or not you get universal credit depend on the eligibility criteria, which is actually tested by the means of livelihood you have. Such as your saving and your income from work or from other activity, or whether your family or friends are giving you money in your account or in your life, whether they give it regularly or whether they give it in a lump sum. You will have savings up to a certain level. This determines whether you get universal credit or not. And I already discussed this elsewhere. I'll continue to discuss it here. And leave a comment below if you are interested, and if you're not interested in this topic. And knowledge is power. We live in a knowledge economy. If there's a problem, we need to understand what the problem is. The cost of living crisis is caused by income disruption, or the problem of income as a whole. I've argued elsewhere, and I repeat it here, that the level of income is a factor, a primary factor. Therefore, universal credit as a financial method of helping those who need help should be up as a primary objective to get the British people out of poverty. If this modeling is applied in Europe and across the globe, then in principle, where government actually set up welfare system to get its people out of poverty in a modern world where there is technology, where there is abundance of wealth, and it is only correct and also the right thing to do to get the global citizens out of poverty, beginning in one country or another. Today I'm talking about the United Kingdom, and therefore talking about the United Kingdom as an example. Paying attention to this conversation is extremely important by every viewer. Thank you so much.